Welcome back to our channel, where rare coins and valuable collectibles come to life with stories that you just can't miss. And today, you're in for something truly special as we dive into the fascinating tale of the 1982 D Lincoln 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors and numismatists alike by reaching a staggering value of up to $26,000. All because of a set of unusual and rare errors and mistakes that have turned this otherwise ordinary-looking penny into a piece of American numismatic history that's now worth big money and could be sitting unnoticed in your change jar or coin roll right now. So sit back and prepare for a deep exploration into what makes this coin so valuable, how these kinds of errors come to exist in the first place, and what you should be looking for if you're hoping to find one yourself. Because the 1982 D penny is not just another cent from the past but a legendary era coin that has shaken up the world of coin collecting due to the sheer rarity and mystery behind its production anomalies, which revolve around the transition from bronze to zinc planchets, a change implemented by the U.S. Mint in 1982 in an effort to cut down on the rising costs of copper, leading to one of the most complex and transitional periods in the minting of the Lincoln cent, where multiple varieties were produced including large date and small date versions in both copper and zinc compositions. But the rarest and most exciting of all is the 1982 D small date copper cent, which should not even exist according to official mint records since the Denver Mint was supposed to strike only zinc cents that year, and yet, against all odds, at least one genuine example of a small date 1982 D copper cent has surfaced and been authenticated by top grading agencies like PCGS, shocking the community because its mere existence suggests a mint error of extraordinary proportions. Possibly a leftover bronze planchet that was somehow fed into the coin press at a time when the facility had switched over entirely to zinc planchets, a scenario that seems nearly impossible under normal quality control conditions but nonetheless occurred, making this cent not just rare but the only one of its kind known to exist for years, though new finds may still emerge, creating a thrilling possibility for hobbyists and roll hunters across the country to unearth a coin worth tens of thousands simply by paying attention to the details and knowing what to look for. And these details include subtle but critical features like the weight of the coin, since copper cents from 1982 weigh approximately 3.11 grams while their zinc counterparts weigh about 2.5 grams. So if you find a 1982 D small date cent that tips your scale around 3.1 grams, you might be holding a six-figure treasure. But it doesn't stop there, because the date style also plays a crucial role in identifying this unique variety and differentiating it from the more common large date forms, which are more boldly struck and have different spacing and shapes in the numerals, with the small date having a delicate appearance especially noticeable in the curvature of the number 2 and the relative height alignment of the digits, which are more level in the small date than the large. And while these might seem like tiny details, they are the very things that can make or break the identity of a rare coin and separate a regular penny from a five-figure payday. And the amazing part is that errors like this often happen during times of transition when the mint is changing materials or dyes or even experimenting with production processes. And 1982 is arguably the most complex year in modern penny history, with at least 7 known varieties produced. And this complexity created the perfect storm for an error like the 1982 D small date copper cent to emerge, possibly due to a die meant for zinc planchets being paired with a leftover bronze planchet, or maybe even a test strike that accidentally entered circulation. And while it's impossible to know the exact reason without direct records from the mint, which are not available for every anomaly, the coin's authentication by third-party grading services confirms that it's not a counterfeit or altered piece but a legitimate product of the U.S. Mint, and as a result, it has become a holy grail among collectors, commanding astronomical prices at auction and sparking massive interest in penny rolls from 1982, especially from Denver, as enthusiasts hope to discover another example. And the buzz surrounding this coin also brings attention to other notable errors from that year, including double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and more, which have also turned up and added further intrigue to this pivotal year, with each type of error telling a unique story about how even the smallest mechanical oversight or procedural lapse can lead to a coin that captures national attention. And what's particularly fascinating is how coins like this blur the line between accident and artifact, as the very thing that was supposed to be caught and corrected, an incorrect planchet or mismatched die, becomes the source of tremendous value precisely because it wasn't caught, and for collectors, that unpredictability is part of the allure, making every coin a mystery to be solved and every roll a potential treasure chest. And when it comes to the 1982 copper small date cent, the rarity is compounded by the fact that Denver reportedly struck only zinc cents that year, which means the number of copper examples that might exist is extremely limited if any others are out there at all, and this scarcity is what drives the price up so dramatically because the laws of supply and demand are absolute in the world of rare coins where a single known example, especially one from a mint that should not have produced such a piece, instantly becomes a priceless artifact and a trophy for any serious collection, and beyond its monetary value, the coin also represents a piece of minting history and a tangible link to a moment when industrial change, human error, and mechanical precision collided in just the right way to create something extraordinary, and it reminds us that even in an age of rigorous quality control, perfection is never guaranteed and mistakes, especially ones like this, are not just tolerated, they are celebrated, chased, authenticated, and ultimately treasured, and as more collectors become aware of the story behind the 1982 small date copper cent, more attention is being paid to coin variations from other transitional years, encouraging deeper research, better tools, and broader public engagement in the hobby of coin collecting, which thrives on the blend of history, art, and accidental miracles that this coin so perfectly embodies. So whether you're a veteran collector or just getting started, this coin teaches a powerful lesson about keeping your eyes open, never underestimating the value of seemingly ordinary items, and remembering that sometimes, the most valuable things are the ones nobody expected to exist in the first place. So keep checking your change, keep weighing those pennies, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next person to uncover a six-figure treasure hiding in plain sight. And if you thought the story of the 1982 1 cent was jaw-dropping, then you're absolutely going to want to stick around for the equally incredible saga of the 1980 Lincoln 1 cent coin, a seemingly average penny that has captured massive attention in the numismatic world for commanding prices as high as $27,000 at auction, thanks to its own set of rare and remarkable errors that have elevated its status from a pocket change curiosity to a collector's dream. And once again we find ourselves delving into the fascinating mechanics of U.S. mint operations where minor production missteps and transitional quirks can birth coins of extreme rarity and value. And what makes the 1980 penny so intriguing isn't just that it's an older coin. It's the specific combination of errors and die anomalies that make this particular specimen one of the most desirable and high-priced modern Lincoln cents ever recorded. And while most 1980 cents are common and minted in massive numbers at the Denver Mint with a composition of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, there exists an ultra-rare error version of this coin that defies expectations, specifically a coin struck on a foreign or off-metal planchet, or in other cases, featuring extremely rare doubled dies or minting irregularities so precise and pronounced that they leave experts stunned and collectors desperate to acquire one. And among the most famous and valuable examples is the 1980 penny struck on a transitional, or wrong, planchet, such as one intended for a U.S. dime, or even a foreign coin, leading to major mismatches in diameter, weight, and rim definition, and these error coins often weigh significantly less than a normal copper cent, usually triggering initial suspicion among experienced collectors and graders, and upon further examination under magnification and scale, the anomalies become more obvious, such as a coin missing full design elements due to the undersized planchet, or showing incomplete rims, off-center details, or unusually sharp strike pressures which can result in distinctive die clashes, all of which contribute to its mystique and value, and what further pushes the price tag to astounding levels like $27,000 is the exceptional condition that some of these errors are found in, with mint state grades of MS66 or higher being so rare that when one appears on the market, bidding wars can break out among elite collectors and investors who recognize the combination of scarcity and condition as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and these coins are almost always slabbed and authenticated by top-tier grading companies like PCGS or NGC, who certify the strike error, determine whether the planchet is foreign or domestic, and confirm authenticity with metallurgical analysis and detailed visual inspection, which then opens the door for auction listings that can skyrocket in value due to rarity, collector demand, and the sheer novelty of the coin's characteristics. And another theory as to how such coins exist is tied to mint production schedules, where planchets or blanks from other minting runs can accidentally remain in feeders and get struck using dies for a different denomination or design, especially when the mint was transitioning or preparing equipment for different contracts, including foreign ones. And in 1980, the Denver Mint was extremely active and had a number of foreign coin contracts, making it statistically plausible, though incredibly rare, for such crossover or wrong planchet errors to occur. And while they were supposed to be caught through rigorous quality control and inspection protocols, the sheer volume of coins being produced, billions per year, means that a few could slip through undetected and eventually find their way into circulation, where they might remain unnoticed for decades unless someone with a trained eye and scale happens to take a closer look. And the excitement around the 1980 penny doesn't stop at wrong planchets alone, because there are also verified cases of extreme doubling, specifically rare doubled die of verse, DDO, varieties where the doubling is visible on the date, the lettering in Liberty, or the motto, In God We Trust, producing a stunning visual anomaly that's not only attractive but incredibly valuable, as doubled dies of this caliber are often minted in extremely small batches before the dies are retired or corrected, meaning only a few examples exist, and when they're linked to a year, like 1980 with an otherwise typical mintage, their scarcity becomes even more pronounced and their value multiplies rapidly, especially in higher grades, and collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents know that finding an uncirculated example of a rare doubled die is the kind of event that elevates an entire collection. Which is why these coins consistently fetch tens of thousands at auctions and private sales when they do appear, and the 1980D also sometimes shows evidence of significant die cracks or retained cut errors, where a piece of the die begins to fracture or break off, causing raised and jagged features on the coin's surface that collectors consider highly desirable because they represent a specific moment of die failure, often unique to a narrow window of production, and some of these retained cuts or cracks are so dramatic that they transform the appearance of the coin, especially when the break passes through Lincoln's portrait or the date area, creating not just a mechanical error but a visually stunning deviation from the norm that feels almost artistic in its chaos. And the demand for these variants is growing rapidly as more collectors focus on era coins and modern rarities, expanding beyond the traditional focus on older key dates and instead appreciating the beauty and unpredictability of the mint's less-than-perfect output. And with social media and online marketplaces driving up visibility and interest in these coins, more and more examples are being submitted for grading, leading to the discovery of additional rare types and increasing public awareness that their everyday change could contain a high-value rarity. And this has fueled a wave of roll hunting, metal detection, and coin show searches, with hobbyists becoming more informed and better equipped with scales, loupes, and reference materials that allow them to identify the subtle but important details that separate a common penny from a $27,000 prize, and perhaps the most exciting part of the 1980 penny story is that it represents the unpredictable and thrilling nature of coin collecting itself, where knowledge, patience, and just a bit of luck can result in extraordinary finds, and where a coin made for 1 cent can completely change someone's financial picture just because it happened to be struck in a rare and impossible way. And these stories remind us that even in the most common coins there can lie unimaginable value if we're willing to look closer, ask questions, and never assume that what appears normal truly is, because the world of rare coins continues to grow, evolve, and amaze with every new discovery, and the 1980 penny, like its 1982 cousin, proves that even the smallest denomination can carry with it enormous history, mystery, and reward. And just when you think the surprises couldn't possibly keep coming, the spotlight shifts to another incredible find in the world of numismatics. The 1975 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a humble-looking penny that has managed to command values of up to $29,000 under the right conditions, shocking even the most seasoned collectors with its combination of ultra-rare errors, die anomalies, and exceptional condition factors that place it among the most coveted modern-era Lincoln cents, and what sets the 1975 cent apart from its billions of identical counterparts is not the year itself, since the U.S. Mint struck more than 5.4 billion of these cents between the Philadelphia and Denver mints, but rather the fact that a very tiny number of them exhibit some of the most elusive and valuable minting errors known from the mid-1970s, transforming these coins from common currency into elite collectibles whose worth is measured in tens of thousands of dollars depending on the type of error, the coin's grade, and the clarity of the anomaly. And among the most notable examples is the 1975 Lincoln cent that features a dramatic double die obverse, DDO, where clear, undeniable doubling is present on key parts of the design such as the date, the word Liberty, and the motto, In God We Trust, making these coins instantly recognizable under magnification and incredibly valuable when found in mint state condition. And though there are only a few confirmed examples of a major double die from 1975, they have sold at auction for amounts approaching and even surpassing $29,000, especially when authenticated and graded by leading services like PCGS or NGC with designations such as MS65 or higher, where the surfaces are clean, lustrous, and unmarred by heavy circulation. And what makes this particular double die so valuable isn't just the rarity of the error but the sharpness of the doubling, with crisp separation visible in the letters and numerals, something that usually only happens during a very brief window at the beginning of a die's life before the mint catches and replaces it, meaning that the total mintage of such coins might be only in the hundreds or even less, and when paired with pristine condition, the scarcity becomes almost impossible to overstate, driving the coin's value sky high. But that's not the only pathway to high worth for the 1975 cent, as other rare errors have been documented, including off-metal strikes where the coin was accidentally minted on a planchet intended for a different denomination or even a foreign coin, resulting in a 1975 penny that weighs less or has a different color tone, or displays rim characteristics inconsistent with standard Lincoln cents, and in these cases, collectors often rely on scales and precision tools to identify coins that don't match the standard 3.11 grams of the copper composition that was still in use at the time, since it wasn't until 1982 that the U.S. Mint officially transitioned to zinc, so finding a 1975 cent that's too light or too heavy can be an instant red flag that you might have a wrong planchet error worth investigating. And further contributing to the premium value of some 1975 cents are examples struck with dramatic misalignments or off-center errors, where the coin was not seated correctly during the striking process, causing the design to appear shifted or partially missing. And the more extreme the misalignment, especially when the date and mint mark remain visible, the more valuable the coin becomes, particularly when combined with high appeal and limited wear. And among all these rare errors, die cracks, cuds, and other planchet flaws from 1975 have also drawn strong collector interest, especially when they occur in visually dramatic ways such as a retained cud breaking across Lincoln's face or shoulder, or when they cause major disruptions to the rim or lettering, giving the coin a unique appearance that is unmistakably the product of minting failure but also clearly unintentional and therefore extremely desirable to error specialists. And when any of these rare conditions appear on a coin that also retains brilliant luster, strong strike details, and no signs of cleaning or post-mint damage, it enters the category of elite collectibles, the kind that fetch premiums in auctions and create buzz in collecting communities. And what's even more fascinating is how these high-value 1975 error cents are often discovered in the most unexpected places. Inherited collections, old piggy banks, jars of coins long forgotten in drawers, or even from routine coin roll hunting by hobbyists who take the time to inspect their finds with the right tools and knowledge. And it's this element of surprise, this ongoing possibility that such a coin could still be out there, undiscovered, waiting to be pulled from a pile of pennies that makes the hunt so exciting and engaging. And collectors who know what to look for, precise doubling on the obverse inscriptions, unusual weights or colorations, misalignments, and cracked or broken die features, have a chance to turn a single cent into a 4 or 5-figure prize, with stories emerging every year of individuals who uncovered rare 1975 pennies purely by chance and changed their financial picture with a single discovery. And all of this contributes to the mystique and desirability of the 1975 Lincoln 1 cent as not just a piece of copper but a rare artifact from a time of intense minting activity and occasional mechanical mishaps, where billions of coins were made by the U.S. Mint under demanding conditions that allowed just enough room for extraordinary errors to slip through the cracks and into circulation. And while the vast majority of 1975 cents are worth face value or slightly more in uncirculated condition, those rare few with confirmed major errors, especially dramatic double dies or wrong planchets, can shatter expectations and rewrite what a penny is truly worth. So, whether you're a long-time numismatist or someone just starting to appreciate the value hidden in everyday change, the story of the 1975 Lincoln cent is a perfect reminder that incredible discoveries are still out there, waiting to be found by someone with sharp eyes, a good scale, and the curiosity to ask, what if this isn't just an ordinary coin? And for the lucky few who stumble upon one of these rarities, that question might lead to a life-changing answer worth $29,000 or more. And now, let's turn our attention to a coin that's more modern than the others we've explored so far but no less extraordinary, the 1993 Lincoln 1 cent coin, which, despite being one of the newer entries in the long-running Lincoln cent series, has stunned collectors by reaching values of up to $15,000 thanks to a combination of exceptional mint errors, unique die varieties, and pristine condition examples that have turned what most would consider a mundane piece of modern change into a hidden treasure worthy of intense scrutiny and careful preservation. And while the 1993 Lincoln cent was produced in massive quantities, with more than 5.6 billion struck at the Philadelphia Mint and over 6.4 billion from the Denver Mint, the key to unlocking its astonishing value lies not in the sheer numbers but in the rare, isolated instances where the minting process went awry in such a dramatic way that the result was a coin with attributes so unusual and so rare that it crossed the line from ordinary to extraordinary. And among the most sought-after examples from this year is the 1993 cent struck on a transitional or off-metal planchet, a type of error where the coin is accidentally minted on a blank intended for another denomination or another metal composition altogether, which can occur when leftover planchets from earlier minting runs are mistakenly mixed with current materials, or when the mint is producing coins for other countries using different specifications and those planchets accidentally enter the presses for U.S. coins. And in the case of the 1993 cent, there are authenticated instances of coins being struck on foreign planchets, such as aluminum or copper-plated zinc of the wrong thickness or diameter, or coins that weigh significantly less or more than the standard 2.5 grams that modern zinc-based Lincoln cents are supposed to weigh. And these errors are incredibly rare and valuable, especially when they are found in high-grade uncirculated condition, and are certified by reputable grading services who confirm the planchet discrepancy through weight testing, metal analysis, and dimensional comparisons. And one particular 1993 cent error discovered and authenticated weighed just over 3 grams, well above normal for a zinc cent, which immediately raised flags for researchers and, upon further analysis, turned out to be struck on a foreign coin planchet that had somehow been introduced into the U.S. Mint's coinage stream, making it a one-of-a-kind anomaly that fetched a price in excess of $15,000 at auction due to its confirmed uniqueness, impeccable condition, and undeniable mint origin nature. And as thrilling as off-metal errors are, the 1993 cent is also known among collectors for a very specific and highly dramatic variety of double die errors, particularly involving doubling on the obverse elements such as the date, Liberty, and the motto, In God We Trust, with some examples showing crisp and separated lines in the letters and digits that are unmistakable when viewed under magnification and create a mirror-like visual distortion effect that's not just valuable but visually captivating to collectors. And although the U.S. Mint had by the 1990s implemented more precise and digitally guided die production technologies, errors still occurred during the hubbing process, especially in transitional years or during maintenance cycles. and when these doubled dies are struck early in a die's life, before deterioration dulls the detail, they can produce incredibly sharp and distinct images that, once discovered, become the focus of intense collector interest, with the finest examples pulling prices in the five-figure range depending on rarity, grade, and visibility of the doubling. And in addition to doubled dies, the 1993 cent has also produced rare off-center strikes and broad-struck errors that are exceptionally well preserved and display dramatic misalignments without losing the key identifying features of the coin, such as the date and mint mark, which are critical in ensuring that the coin can be properly attributed and valued. And when these off-center or broad-struck examples are combined with high grades from grading agencies like PCGS or NGC, particularly grades of MS67 or above, their rarity and visual appeal drive collectors to bid aggressively, sometimes pushing values well into five-figure territory, and collectors of modern eras have come to view the 1993 cent as one of those underappreciated gems, where most people wouldn't even think to look, assuming that a penny from the 90s couldn't possibly be worth much. But that assumption is exactly what makes these finds so exciting, because in a sea of billions of ordinary cents, only a handful might bear the combination of mint errors and immaculate preservation needed to make them truly valuable. And in the world of coin collecting, condition always matters. So when a rare error coin from 1993 is found in an untouched, lustrous state with clean fields and sharp details, it stands out immediately and enters the upper echelon of modern U.S. coinage, where the interplay of scarcity, curiosity, and aesthetic appeal drives values higher and higher, and many of these coins are discovered by amateur collectors, hobbyists, or even curious individuals who happen to stumble upon an odd-looking penny in their change or coin jar and decide to take a closer look, perhaps weighing the coin and noticing that it's heavier than expected, or holding it at an angle and observing doubled lettering they hadn't seen before. And those small decisions, taking the time to weigh a coin, compare it with others, or research it online, can be the first step toward uncovering a $15,000 surprise. And what's particularly appealing about the 1993 cent is that its modernity makes it accessible to a wide range of collectors who might not have the budget to chase ancient rarities or low mintage key dates, but can still hunt for errors in this year by checking change, searching coin rolls, or purchasing unsearched bags of cents and meticulously inspecting each one. And the odds are low, but the potential reward is massive, because these valuable 1993 era cents do exist, have been found, and are now enshrined in private collections, auction catalogs, and grading archives as proof that even a coin younger than some cell phones can still be a numismatic jackpot under the right conditions. And whether it's a foreign planchet strike, a bold doubled die, or an extreme off-center error in mint state condition, the 1993 Lincoln cent stands as a testament to the fact that the U.S. Mint, despite all its technological advances, is still subject to the occasional hiccup, and for collectors, those hiccups are golden opportunities that turn common copper-plated zinc into some of the most valuable modern cents in circulation today. And as we continue our deep dive into the hidden gems of modern U.S. coinage, we arrive at another fascinating and highly valuable discovery that proves rare coins aren't limited to ancient or early 20th century issues. The 2000 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a piece so seemingly common that most people wouldn't give it a second glance, yet under certain extraordinary circumstances, it has commanded prices as high as $10,000 due to a combination of extremely rare minting errors, unusual die varieties, and pristine condition factors that together form the perfect storm of collectability and value in the modern numismatic market. And what makes the 2000 penny so intriguing is that it was minted during a time when the U.S. Mint was operating with extremely high production output, especially at the Denver Mint, which alone produced over 8.7 billion Lincoln cents that year. Meaning the sheer scale of production created opportunities for unique errors and mechanical anomalies to slip through the cracks and into circulation, and among the most famous of these valuable errors are those involving major off-metal strikes where a coin intended to be a Lincoln cent is mistakenly struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, or even a foreign coin. And when such errors occur, the results can be dramatic. Coins that are too light or too heavy, designs that are incomplete due to the wrong size blank, or unexpected metallic composition that alters the coin's coloration and sound, all of which become immediately interesting to era collectors and can fetch enormous premiums when authenticated and graded properly. And in the case of the 2000 penny, one of the most famous and valuable known examples is a specimen struck on a 10-cent dime planchet, which resulted in a copper-plated zinc cent design being squeezed onto a smaller silver-colored planchet with incomplete rim details and visible date and mint mark that confirm its origin as a penny despite the mismatch. And this kind of wrong planchet error is extremely rare and highly sought after, especially when preserved in mint state condition with minimal marks and strong luster, and examples like this have sold for up to $10,000 at auction because of their rarity, clear diagnostic features, and desirability among both Lincoln cent specialists and era coin enthusiasts, and beyond the wrong planchet types. The 2000 cent has also been known to exhibit strong double die reverses, with one of the most notable being doubling in the Lincoln Memorial's columns and steps, creating a ghost-like visual effect that is only visible on a small number of early die state coins before the doubling became too faint to distinguish, and though not as famous as some of the earlier double die varieties like the 1955 or 1969s. The 2000 double die reverse commands strong interest due to its visibility and relative rarity, and when found in uncirculated condition, especially in MS66 or higher, it has sold for thousands of dollars due to the added value of Era Plus preservation. And another intriguing feature to watch for on the 2000 cent is significant off-center strikes, especially those between 40% to 80% off-center while still retaining a fully visible date and mint mark, which makes them not only rare but particularly desirable because the identity of the coin remains clear while the dramatic nature of the strike adds instant visual appeal. And when these coins are found in brilliant, uncirculated condition with no post-mint damage or corrosion, they can easily fetch thousands, particularly if the strike is bold and the details remain sharp, and dyed breaks, retained cuds, and die cracks are other factors that can add substantial value to a 2000 penny, especially when they occur in unique positions such as across Lincoln's face, through the date, or along the memorial building on the reverse, as these dramatic mint-caused features serve as compelling evidence of mechanical failure that managed to survive the mint's quality control processes, and collectors love these anomalies for their uniqueness and the way they tell the story of imperfection in mass production. And when these features are found in combination with a high state of preservation and authenticated by a top-tier grading company like PCGS or NGC, their values can rise substantially, reaching prices up to $10,000 or more depending on the severity and clarity of the error. And what adds even more excitement to the 2000 cent story is that it's still relatively young in numismatic terms, which means there are likely additional undiscovered examples out there in circulation, in bank rolls, or tucked away in change jars, just waiting for a curious and observant collector to take a second look, weigh the coin, examine it under magnification, and possibly uncover a life-changing rarity. And that accessibility, the idea that such a valuable coin could still be hiding in plain sight, is what keeps collectors motivated to search every new penny they find, because lightning can and does strike in the most unexpected places, and the 2000 penny proves that the modern era of U.S. coinage is far from boring, with high-stakes errors, overlooked double dies, and 1 in a billion planchet mistakes creating an environment where knowledge, persistence, and a little luck can pay off in a major way. And whether you're a dedicated coin roll hunter or someone just beginning to explore the hobby, the 2000 cent is a reminder that even in a pile of ordinary coins, the extraordinary is always possible, because somewhere out there, another $10,000 penny might be waiting to be discovered, and it could very well be the next one you find. So, as we reflect on the story of the 2000 Lincoln cent, it becomes clear that what appears to be just another modern penny can actually be a gateway to substantial value when rare mint errors, unusual planchet anomalies, and pristine conditions align. And with so many billions produced that year, the chance of finding one of these remarkable outliers still exists today, quietly hiding in jars, drawers, or circulation, making every coin you inspect a potential discovery and proving once again that the world of numismatics is filled with surprises, where even a single cent can be worth thousands if you know what to look for. And now we journey further back in time to uncover one of the most astonishing Lincoln cent discoveries ever to grace the numismatic world, the legendary 1962 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a piece that has stunned collectors and auction houses alike by commanding values as high as $80,000 in verified sales, not because of its age alone, nor merely due to its mintage size, but because of an extremely rare and scarcely seen combination of minting errors, off-metal anomalies, and condition factors so exceptional that they have placed this coin in a league of its own. And while over 2.4 billion 1962 pennies were minted at the Philadelphia Mint and an additional 1.7 billion at the Denver Mint, making it one of the most common issues of the Lincoln Memorial series in terms of raw numbers, rarity does not always come from how few coins were made. It comes from how rare a certain error is within that enormous sea of otherwise ordinary examples, and in the case of the 1962 Lincoln cent, the handful of coins that have earned astronomical prices, up to $80,000, have done so not because of anything printed in official U.S. Mint records, but because they are minting anomalies that defy expectations, confuse experts at first glance, and turn out to be once-in-a-generation finds when fully understood. And among the most famous of these is the 1962 cent struck on the wrong planchet. A transitional error in which a cent was mistakenly struck on a silver-colored planchet intended for a different denomination such as a dime or a foreign coin, resulting in a Lincoln design that appears thinner, smaller, or made of an entirely different metal, and such wrong planchet errors are so extremely rare from the early 1960s that when even one authentic example appears, it generates intense excitement among high-end collectors and error specialists, particularly when it is in mint state condition with clear devices, full rims, strong strikes, and no post-mint damage, and one well-documented and certified specimen from this year was struck on a planchet intended for a silver coin, believed to be either a Roosevelt dime or possibly a foreign contract blank, which gave it a lighter weight, silvery appearance, and a brilliant reflective surface unlike anything normally seen on copper Lincoln cents, and after thorough authentication including weight analysis and metallurgical testing, it was certified genuine by a major grading agency and ultimately sold at auction for nearly $80,000, making it one of the most valuable era Lincoln cents ever recorded. And as if that weren't enough, other rare varieties from 1962 include dramatic off-center strikes, sometimes by 50% or more, which when paired with visible dates and full mint marks become highly sought after by collectors who specialize in misstrikes, as well as broad-struck errors without rims or with distorted outer devices, and die cap errors where a blank planchet becomes stuck to the die and continues striking subsequent blanks, creating a series of distorted, flattened, or mirror-like coins that defy the standard appearance of the Lincoln cent. And perhaps most astonishing of all is the existence of double-die varieties from this year, including extremely scarce double-die obverse examples where doubling is visible on Liberty and In God We Trust. And these double dies, while subtle in comparison to dramatic varieties from earlier decades, are known to be very rare when clearly visible and can multiply a coin's value many times over if found in brilliant uncirculated condition, especially when paired with a red designation indicating full original luster with no signs of toning or discoloration, and because the vast majority of 1962 cents were heavily circulated and worn down by everyday use, finding a high-grade example of any error from this year is incredibly difficult. Which is why mint state examples of known errors or varieties often enter the elite tier of Lincoln cent valuation, leading to sales in the tens of thousands or, in the most extreme cases, like the aforementioned wrong planchet example, upwards of $80,000. And what's truly magical about the 1962 cent is the lesson it teaches, that even from a mintage of over 4 billion coins, a handful can emerge as rare, valuable, and mysterious pieces of numismatic art. All because of a momentary lapse in minting procedures, a leftover blank from a different metal batch, or a subtle die alignment that nobody noticed until decades later, and these types of errors often go unnoticed in their time, overlooked by the mint and ignored by the public, only to be unearthed years or decades later by someone curious enough to weigh a coin, examine its features under magnification, or question why it looks or feels slightly different, and that's exactly how discoveries like the $80,000 1962 penny are made. Not by accident, but by careful observation and an understanding that even the most ordinary-looking coins can carry extraordinary stories beneath their surfaces, and today, collectors worldwide continue to examine 1962 pennies with renewed interest, hoping to spot subtle indicators like unusual weight, unexpected coloration, off-center alignment, or double design elements that might hint at a hidden treasure. And for those fortunate enough to find such a specimen and have it certified by a professional grading service, the rewards can be truly life-changing, not just financially but also in the sense of joining a rare club of discoverers whose finds rewrite the story of American coinage. So whether you're a veteran numismatist or simply someone sorting through an old family coin jar, the 1962 Lincoln cent is one more reason to pay attention, because hidden among those aging copper coins could be one of the rarest and most valuable errors ever produced by the U.S. Mint, waiting to be found, studied, authenticated, and possibly sold for as much as $80,000 or more. And the story of the 1962 Lincoln 1 cent doesn't end there, because what makes this coin even more captivating is the continued mystery surrounding how such extreme and valuable errors could occur during a year that, by all historical records, should have been one of mechanical consistency and minting stability. As the early 1960s were a period during which the U.S. Mint was focused on maintaining output for a growing economy, and yet, within that massive production volume, a few errors escaped, errors that not only challenge our understanding of mint practices but also offer compelling physical evidence that perfection, even in a system as structured as coin production, is elusive, and these rare anomalies, like the 1962 cent struck on a silver dime planchet or a blank from a foreign contract, are essentially accidents that became historic artifacts, transforming what should have been a 1-cent transaction into something worthy of museum displays or private numismatic collections worth tens of thousands of dollars. And what's even more incredible is that these errors aren't always immediately obvious to the naked eye, because sometimes it's just the sound the coin makes when dropped, a higher-pitched ring, or the color that seems slightly too bright, or a weight that's just a fraction off, and these tiny signals, when combined with curiosity and knowledge, can lead a collector or even a complete novice to discover a once-in-a-lifetime rarity hiding in plain sight, and that possibility continues to drive demand for high-grade and error-variant 1962 Lincoln cents, especially those that have been professionally graded as Mint State Red, with designations like MS66RD or higher, because the combination of rarity, error, and flawless preservation is where value reaches its peak, and although extremely rare, examples of these top-tier 1962 error cents have surfaced at major auction houses and are now cataloged as part of numismatic history, often with detailed provenance, expert evaluation reports, and extensive bidding interest that pushes prices up dramatically. And for collectors who understand the nuances, what to look for, what errors have precedent, and how to authenticate anomalies, the thrill of finding such a coin is matched only by the reward it can bring, both financially and historically, because finding a 6-figure coin isn't just about the money. It's about discovering something no one else has noticed, something that the mint never intended, and something that, against all odds, survived decades of circulation or storage to tell a story that even mint employees might not have known took place. And in that way, the 1962 1 cent is not just a coin, it's a reminder that the smallest, most overlooked objects in our daily lives can sometimes hold the greatest mysteries, the highest values, and the richest histories, if only we have the patience, tools, and insight to uncover them.